closed lower, this one closed higher. So this candle, I mean, you could have had a green candle follow this. It was possible, because you're still holding the range and you're basically failing to close lower. But that being said, the problem with these candles, you see this red candle here, this red candle here, is that what happened when the candles form is that the liquidity from this low was taken. Yeah, so that's a liquidity grab. And so when you get a liquidity grab like that in the highs of a range, traders will take those trades. They'll take those longs, highly leveraged, and they'll take profits. And so effectively, where the candle ends determines how the next candle continues or not. So you got big take profits. So people were taking longs will take profits, and as the price comes back, as it moves high enough, you're going to get people selling. So you can get some sell pressure as the price comes back up. That's the problem. And so ideally with these kinds of candles, you want them to close higher, just to show that there's a reaction off the bottom of this level. Same thing happened here. This was a little bit more bearish. This candle here is much more bearish. I wouldn't say this was crazy bearish, yeah, even though we've seen a little bit of a sell-off. And what's interesting about the sell-off is that there was no pullback here. So as soon as the daily candle opened, you see that there was no wick, it just sold, just a dump. Not very healthy to see that kind of price action, because you usually want to do is you want to go up a bit, capture liquidity, and then go down. I don't see that liquidity has been captured. It just looks like to me someone has market sold, like a big order was market sold. Now I'm going to have a look at XO charts and the order flow to see what that was. I'm going to have a look at that now. Okay. Let's zoom out a bit. There it is. You see that? You see that big dump? Bam, 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 bam. Let's have a look. Okay. So it happened. Okay. So this is where the daily candle opened. Price just couldn't go up. See that? Just flat. Daily open is that green line. And we've got a few shorts opening here in this range. Just building some shorts, shorts, lots of shorts, a few longs closing. As the price starts to come down, as it makes a low here. You had a couple of, these are shorts opening here. Increasing OI, decreasing prices. And this is longs closing. Yeah. Minus 2.3 million in OI, minus 7.5 million in OI. And longs closing, there's a little bit of liquidation there. And this is a big long closing. Do you see that big drop? This big one? That was a big minus 25 million in OI market close. Bam. That went all the way down to here. Okay. There was a big there was some liquidation bubbles there, so some people got liquidated in this candle. These are 5-minute candles. And as you look at this candle, okay, what's interesting is there are some imbalances, but not like crazy, not crazy imbalances. There's a few. There's more imbalances higher up here. So basically it's saying there aren't many limit orders higher up, but as the price comes down, there aren't crazy amounts of imbalances. that you might expect. These are shorts closing. You see all these are shorts closing, so that basically shorts are taking their profits. Now we're in a little bit of a range after we had that little dump. What's happening here? OI is going down. Good morning, Sebastian. Welcome. OI is going down. Price is going down. Looks like longs are closing actually. Yeah. These are shorts closing. Okay, so here's where the OI starts going up. This is what we're interested in. These are longs coming in now. Longs coming in. Here's some longs. Some people are building some longs here in this range. That's a long closing again. Look, minus 2.1 million negative OI, and that's a long opening straight after the long closed. Okay. So there's a lot of longs opening, longs closing in this range. I think a lot of the shorts who have already closed. So if there's anyone who was short from higher up, you see all of this OI dropping. This is just shorts closing. Okay. That being said, the price is going down. So longs are closing too. And at the moment, it's just after you get this type of event, bit of a liquidation event, a bit of a dump, you get a little bit of consolidation. And we're just forming a little bit of a range right now. What's interesting about this area of interest is that, as you can see on this chart, it's the previous month point of control and the weekly point of control. Okay. And so it's quite an interesting area where the price has fallen. And then why are we resisting up here? Is there a reason? Not particularly. I'm not really seeing crazy gaps in this drop. Usually you get like gaps. Let me have a look at the other charts to see if I can see some gaps. Actually, which one is it? Not that one. It's that one. So that one. It's the wrong one again. I always confuse this. Okay, maybe there are gaps. Yeah, there are gaps. Okay. So we have a lot of gaps. Yeah, there's a lot of gaps. Okay, so this fall yesterday night, or this morning rather, early hours, created a whole bunch of single prints. You see all of those? I'm going to mark those off because these are gaps. Actually, they are volume gaps, my bad. And as you can see already, the price has come up to test the bottom of this gap, and there's a reaction. Now, something to note about single prints is they fill. Single prints fill. Doesn't have to happen today, but these single prints will eventually fill. In the future, they will fill. Okay. When they do fill, once it gets to the top, then again the price will return. Because the market doesn't like gaps. It doesn't enjoy gaps. I'm going to mark those off here in chat now. SPs, prints, so I can write it down onto my chart. So we have 67330 to 68110. We have 68 to 68. I mean, to all intents and purposes, I would consider that whole thing as one block, as one big block, to be honest with you. So I would expect the whole lot to fill if it goes up. Let's have a look. and then 690306910. There's a single prints created in that drop. Okay. Anything else interesting? So we're in the London session now. The drop happened in the Asia session. We have a session point of control up there that hasn't been touched yet. That is from the Asia session as well. I'm going to mark that. There's some single prints here as well that hasn't been touched. Slightly higher up. Let me mark that too. 70310 70370. Good morning, Ali Hash. I like your name, Hash. And then the New York naked session point of control is that's not New York, that's Asia. Travel to the moon. Exactly. Travel to the moon. 70620 70620. So we have a little point of control there. Okay, let me see if there's anything else. Have a look at some of the charts. You can see we're still seeing like bullish CVD on a slightly higher time frame. This is the 4-hour chart. You can see how the CVD has gone lower than the previous level here, and the price is higher. So in this whole overall range that we're looking at, we are seeing higher time frame, medium to higher time frame bullish divergences. That's quite interesting. All right. So right now, looking at the order flow on XO charts. Bit of longing, a bit of closing. There's a short there. I'm not seeing crazy shorts at the moment. I think this range just needs to play out a little bit. And it is possible that we're going to take out this pivot that's been put in before we go up, just for a local swing failure. It is possible. All right, that's what I'm thinking right now. Let me go back to the other chart. Yes, I'm going to have a look at Slurf today. Welcome everyone. There's a few people, and we have to look for the opportunities. So yeah, so we've got two things happening right now on BTC potentially. We're in an ABC correction. For all intents purposes, this is your A, this is your B, and now we're in a C. And while I thought it was possible for the B to continue and we get a C like that, there wasn't enough strength in the market. And this is the B now. We're in the B now. The question is, how far does the B go? Do we end up with a correction like this? Okay. Or do we go on for longer like this? Or is this the first ABC of a much longer, complicated ABC? Is this ABC? Are we about to see a BC, BC? Like, what's happening? Like, who knows? There's lots of things that could be happening here. No one can predict the future. We had an idea, if anyone's been watching my streams, I did have an idea that the price could go down from 6 days ago. I was looking at it actually today, and this morning when I came on the stream, I was thinking to myself, I kind of had this idea. It's a lot harder to trade. It's a lot easier to have an idea. It's never that easy to trade because so many things could happen in the markets. Where is it? Let me just show you. I just want to go over it again because I just want to remind myself exactly what I was thinking at the time. It was about 6 days assets, not that. Which one is it? Is it that one? Yeah, I think it was there. Nope.
But
oh my god, what is
it's
this?
not a bad bit of a reaction.
No.
This bullish harmonic with this.
Yeah, so I had an idea that we were here. I don't know if anyone remembers, but we were forming this inverse head and shoulders, and I thought it was possible we'd continue going up. I wasn't sure where. I thought we'd go down here first, but actually it pumped. So let me see. I think it was before actually. We go a bit back.
Exhausting on the
God, I'm going to mute myself. See if I can find it. So I kind of had an idea that we would go up and then potentially come down. Now I haven't thought, I'm not thinking that we're going all the way down yet. See that? So if you look at this picture, let me just take a copy of it. Bring it to my other chart here. So this is what we're looking at now. I've deleted those charts anyway, so I cleaned my chart. So yeah, so I kind of had the idea that we would, if I bring up the previous bull market all-time high, where is it? There it is. It's not marked. It's way down here. There it is. Let me rename that. Right. Oh, wrong one. What an idiot. Such an idiot. The wrong one. Let me redo it. Rename. Rename. Oh, that's, I can just delete that now. That's rubbish. It's gone. Right. Yeah, so I thought possibly that we could see that, create this kind of inverse head and shoulder, go up to form this kind of head and shoulders up there, and head down here. Now, on this original idea, I've got the price going much lower, but as far as I'm concerned, I don't think lower while we're still holding support. And the question now is, are we holding support? Okay, that's the question. So that was my original idea. The problem is when you go up, you see strength, you think higher. But the Bitcoin has that cunning ability of faking out a lot. And we were expecting a correction to the downside. We just didn't know whether it was going to happen now or higher up. Okay. No one knows. And so I was shorting this because we're in the highs. I messed up my short, which is fine, it happens, but I was thinking, let's go down. So that's quite interesting that I had that idea. So I talked about this in my previous stream yesterday about this harmonic idea. And so that's the harmonic. And I said that you can't really trade the C. You can only trade the D, because the reality is we don't have to go down to D. It depends on the strength of the market. It depends on the balance between buying and selling at this level that we're at now. We're at a very important level. If there's enough buyers here, then we're going up. It's really that simple. It's all about buying and selling. It's, even though these harmonics can play out, they don't have to. But when they do complete, and if we do get a completion of this harmonic where this price eventually ends up here, then that's a really amazing long opportunity. Yeah, that would be in a really great long, because you have a good entry as well. You have a very easy entry. So I am thinking that this is still possible, even though I'm in a long now. And what will happen is that my long will get stopped out and will probably either go up or go down. So I'm still thinking about this harmonic, but I'm not like yet into it, just simply because we're at a really important area of interest right now. So the area of interest that we're in, I'll show you. So we've come into some naked points of control. And actually last night as the price came down, it found support. And we're in this area of interest now. And then on the volume, we're at the point of control. So let me actually just update the volume area. To see if there's any changes in the volume. The value area low is slightly higher. Point of control is where it is. And the value area high is slightly lower. Value area low is slightly higher. Value area. So the range is slightly smaller. We're underneath the point of control. Point of control hasn't moved. Okay. I mean, that's not very strong, to be honest with you. That's not crazy strong price action, because you've closed this candle underneath the point of control and we've created single prints. So let me just mark off those single prints. Where are my single prints? Actually, let me have a look at that. Nope. Nope. I'll do that now. So what I'll do is I'm just going to put in those numbers that I just marked off. Six, 7, 3, 3, 0. I'll just do the whole block. I won't put them all in. I think it's just one block really. It's just a shit ton of single prints in that drop. All the way through to 69110. There you go. And there's a whole bunch of single prints, gaps. This is all a gap that's been created. What usually happens with gaps is that if the price can get into the gap and find acceptance, then the whole gap will fill. That's what usually happens with gaps. When the gap fills, the top of the gap will become resistance and the price will come back down again. Okay, that's how gaps work. So usually gaps fill, but then you find resistance and you come back down. So it's just something to bear in mind. In this whole drop, there's a whole bunch of mini gaps, as you can see that I've marked off. There's like 4 mini gaps. But I think if we get into the first one, that's probably the biggest one. We'll probably end up filling the whole lot. So that's why I'm not marking it off. And we have a higher gap up here as well, which I'm going to mark off, 70310. I'll mark that off as well, a little bit of a gap there. It's a really tiny gap, 70370. Really tiny gap there. Okay. Now this is my trade plan. I had a slightly wider invalidation. I didn't set limit orders. As soon as I saw the price come into this level and as soon as I saw a reaction, I took it as a bit of a gamble really. I put my invalidation slightly lower than this, like about 6,500, somewhere here. And I just took a long. Okay, so I'm in a long right now. I'm only risking, actually I'm risking slightly more than I normally would. Close to 1.5%. I'm willing to take that risk because we're at a very important level. And at the very least, I have to see what happens with this range, but I wouldn't, if the price goes up now and finds resistance, then I might close my long. Yeah, I might close my long. I want to see a bit of strength now. And there's different ways that you can create longs. You can build longs over a period of time and start to scale in on the dips. Or you can just risk it, and it's not a big deal because you have good risk management. If you're willing to risk a certain percent, this is the place to do it. If this fails, then you're looking for lower, you know, and that's not a problem. That's how trading is. That's not a problem. I don't like that we've lost this area so easily, to be honest with you. It's not looking so great. The problem when you lose these areas of this area of interest with price is that it becomes difficult to get back up. And actually, I think right now what I'm thinking is if there's actually a short opportunity on the table just because of where that single print is. And it's the point of control. So you're coming back into that area of interest and you have a really easy short because you just wait for the swing failure of this pivot basically. Right back down to the bottom. And you have a swing failure of this pivot here. Yeah. And even though you're shorting in the lows of this drop, you're just basically what you're trading this range. This is the range. And you're just thinking, okay, we're in a little range now. You short the top of the range, yeah. And you're looking for a good place to short and coming back into the point of control, into that single print. A swing failure of this level here, you could short that. You could totally short that. All right. It'd be good to be in a long too, just in case your short fails and the price goes up. It'd be good to be in a long here and a short up there. And if your short fails, you're still in your long, and then the price will probably go up and fill that single print all the way up. That's why it's good to short and long if you can. Yeah, so we just have to see how that plays out. I'm not crazy bearish still. I'm not crazy bearish. I think we expected this correction. I was expecting this correction. And for me, the most important thing actually is that we had a really nice weekly level. Just mark these off. See that weekly candle? We had a nice weekly candle. Now, the question is, I mean, the week, we've only just begun this week, really. And we've come all the way down from the highs. We're at the previous weekly low now. That usually offers support. Okay. Now, the question is, do we go back up? You know, we've crossed the weekly level here. Did I mark that off? I think I did. I think that's quite an important level. Yeah. Let's get rid of that wash daily level now. These wash levels become irrelevant. Get rid of that as well. I think that's irrelevant as well. Maybe we come back and find a resistance where I want to short. You see that? That's a weekly level. So we have to see what happens as the price comes back to that level. There is a short trade to be had. If we see a reaction, there probably will be a reaction, to be honest with you. These are your single prints. That's a really good place to short because you're a weekly level. You have single prints there at the beginning, and then you have this point of control right there. See that? So you have quite a good amount of resistance there, and it'll be an easy entry because all you have to do is just take the liquidity from this swing failure here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mark that swing failure level. Excuse me. I'm going to create an alert. On that level. As soon as the alert hits, if I see a nice swing failure, I'll take the short, set my invalidation, and I'll try and aim for this low here, see if it's possible. That's the short I'm looking at now. Okay. Then what else am I thinking? Well, the other thing I was thinking, so everyone is thinking bearish. I'm not thinking bearish at all. Just because we've come and we've lost this point of control doesn't mean we're going down. You know, we might range here for a little bit and then we have to see what happens. Okay. We have actually technically lost a major area of interest. Can we reclaim it? Can we find strength? And the thing is, if you do find strength, then we're going up really quickly again, because you just fill this gap fast. Everyone gets bullish again. And you start going up again, you know. That's what happens. If you fill this gap up quite fast, if you do find strength, you'll get a reaction off the top there. So there's possibly a short there too. But I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily be thinking to short if we go back up there. I'll possibly be thinking to long the back test, which will probably be this pivot here. Come back into this pivot, then to go up again. I'll probably be thinking like that if that was to happen. And this would just be, maybe this would be a deviation from the higher range. Let me just draw a volume pool to this candle to see what the higher range is. The value area is a bit lower. Lower. Okay. Nothing interesting. We have to see what happens. Yeah. Strength. Bullish strength would be to get back into. Do you see this red zone here? The local val that I've got here. Bullish strength would be to get back into there. If the price gets back into there, you're into the local value area low, you're in above the previous all-time high. If this was to happen, that would look really strong. That's you like, again, you're forming an inverse head and shoulders pattern. That would look really strong if that was to form. And if we do manage to get back above the point of control and fill this gap, then you are looking at something like that. Yeah, so that's something to bear in mind. I think it's more likely than not we range here a little bit longer. Okay, and if there's continuation, I don't expect it to be now. I expect us to go up before we go down. The question for the price, the next question is this: do we get a rejection here, or do we find acceptance back into the gap to fill the gap? So that's really the next question that's on my mind. So I'm not thinking now the price is going to go down. I'm thinking first the price has to go up, and then we have to see what happens here. Okay, so that's one that's on my mind right now. Hi. Cactus is bearish. Good morning. Alpa UK, good morning. Amir, where is the next luggage charging station ahead? Did you have a look at TRVL? I'm sure no one expected that. Yeah, market goes down, TRVL goes up. I don't think anyone expected that. Excuse me. All right. So I think what's on everyone's mind is what's happening next. I think what has to happen next is we have to see this area tested. I'm not saying the price is going to go straight up. Yeah, it's always possible for the price to just do a local SFP here and then go up. Yeah, that's kind of more likely than not. A little local SFP, shorts close, the price comes back up, and then you have the test. But in all essence, in the essence of what I'm saying is that we really need to back test this area, which is the point of control, because we've lost it. We've just lost the point of control. We need to back test it as resistance. First, to see what happens. If it doesn't hold as resistance, then we're going to fill this gap. If we're going to fill this gap, then it's going to start looking bullish again, because we're then potentially, if we can hold this pivot as we clear it, we're potentially forming an inverse head and shoulders. If the neckline breaks, then we're heading up. Okay, so these are some questions that are on the table right now. The other thing to bear in mind is that harmonic that I have. We have lost this area very easily. So the next question is whether this area is resistance or not. If it isn't resistance, if it is resistance, then we're going lower. It's just a fact of the way the markets work. It just means there wasn't enough liquidity to hold the price at this level, and the price is always looking for liquidity. It's always in search of liquidity. Okay, so then you have to ask yourself, well, where's the next level of liquidity? That's what it's always about, the liquidity. So I have this harmonic long idea. Now again, I don't necessarily think we're going all the way down here, even though that's where the most of the liquidity is going to be. Why is there most of the liquidity going to be here? Because this is where you have all your stop orders, market selling. There's a lot of market sell orders underneath this pivot. What that means is that if the price comes down here, you're going to get a crap load of market selling, because people in this whole range are going to be stopped out. And if there's anyone who's interested in filling their gigantic big billions and billions of dollars worth of bags, this is a good place to do it, because they're going to get filled. Yeah, this is a good place to get filled. So that's where I think most of the liquidity is going to be, underneath this wick. And you just have to see how much liquidity there is in between the current price and that low, that area of interest. Okay, if there's not enough liquidity, the price is just going to keep on falling until we get there. Okay, and if there is, then you're just going to find support higher up. That's what's going to happen. At the moment, what I'm seeing is that we're still in the range. we haven't lost the range, and the range that I'm thinking about is the value area. I've got it marked off. You see, this is the point of control here. The value area high is up there, and then you've got the value area low here. I mean, we could just go to the value area low. It is possible. If we find resistance there, we go to the value area low and come back up. It's very possible we just range bound within the volume area, and we just put in another higher low somewhere here. You know, you've got a potential trend line I can see here. Could go a bit lower. Go a bit lower. Or like that. You know, it's possible. Just have a higher low here and head back up, and you could be forming, we could be forming like a higher time frame, some kind of higher time frame, something like a flat top triangle. It's possible. That harmonic idea doesn't have to play out. It's just an idea. And but if it does play out, then you've got a good long opportunity. The other thing that I'm seeing is that megaphone idea that I had, which is also possible right now. Depends on what happens to the current price. It's all about what happens to the price. Let me just draw it. It's a bit messy. I'm not fond of it, but you can see the price initially reacted, and now we're trying to lose that area of interest. I'm not crazy about this price action right now, but it is possible that we just kind of do this. I'm seeing weakness. If you clone that line, that would probably be a little bit better. And we may see this. Yeah, we may see this, exactly what I'm saying. It may be possible that we range here for a while. I don't know how long, maybe even a week. You know, we just range bound here for another leg down to form a higher low on the bottom of this trend line, and that will be your ABC basically. Effectively, that could be your ABC, and that would be it. And that's all you're looking for right now. You're only really looking for an ABC. So I'm not really necessarily thinking it's going to go lower right now. And then obviously if we go up, we go up. You know, if you go up, then that's fine. Then we'll have a little bit more of a flat correction, and that would be really nice to have a flat correction. In the context of what I'm thinking, I would prefer a flat correction, and that means we have to go up. But to all intents and purposes, when you're looking at this whole price action, this is pretty flat. Yeah, this to there. If that's all it does, that's pretty flat. That whole correction is quite a flat correction. It's not very deep. Yeah. All right. I don't know if that helped with anyone's idea of the price. So just to kind of sum it up, I'm in a long. I'm underwater. Oh, I've got a missed call. I'll probably be looking to cut that long if we find if we find a little bit of resistance as we come back up. Okay, and obviously if we go down, then I'm going to get stopped out. That's life. I'll probably, on the swing failure of this local level, I'll probably, if I get stopped out and we swing failure this level here, I'll probably take another long. Let's see what happens. The short that I'm thinking of is this. If we find reaction off the point of control, and probably what I'll do is I will close my long there because I don't like the price action. And so that'll be a good opportunity if you're in a long and you're not happy with the price action to just close it. It'd be easy to take a long if we get acceptance back up there. Just take a long above that level. It'd be better to take a long above that level. This is quite bearish price action, to be honest with you. So I'm not crazy about my decision to long. But you gotta try things out. I've got to risk a little bit and see what happens. And then if we do get back above that level, then I'll probably be looking to fill the gap, and then we have to see what forms, and maybe it'll be something like that. Who knows? Or you'll get continued weakness. That won't hold, and maybe we range here, and we still continue to go down. Like, there's options for the price, and we just have to see what happens. And then the other thing that could happen is there's a little bit of a trend line forming there as well. You have to bear those trend lines in mind there. So if we do range and come back up, by this evening, if we come up there, that'd be a really good place to short. Okay. So time is quite important. However, if we just range here for prolonged period, the longer we range here, then yeah, then I don't necessarily think we're going down so much. I think if we want to go down further, we have to go down. Yeah, we have to start losing levels, and people need to start getting bearish, and we need to start forming. Like, I don't really want to see consolidation if we're going down. I want us to just go down. Yeah. If I start seeing a prolonged consolidation, I'm not thinking we're going to just go really down. And then what will be interesting is whether this trend line holds or not. And then if it does or doesn't, then it will depend on whether this is going to happen. And I think for this to happen, we really need to start, we just need to just start going down. Yeah. And people need to get really bearish. Once you lose that trend line, you're going to get a crap load of people shorting into this pivot. And that's what you need. That's the fuel for the fire to explode up. You get people short the lows when the price is dropping. When the price has already dropped 10-11%, then you're going to get everyone shorting, and that's what's going to cause the price to explode upwards. And you don't really want consolidation. You want nice, fast moving red candles, because when the price comes up, it will just explode up really fast as well. All right. So that's my thoughts on where we are right now. It's looking weaker. It's looking very weak. Some shorts. Look, these are shorts coming in. All right. So this is good. That's what you want to see. You want to see shorting, because that's how you can, how the price can go up. You can squeeze those shorts. All right. XRP. I'm going to have a look. Veggie Food Lover BLR. Hi, how are you doing? Let me guess. You're going to ask me to have a look at Gary. Yeah, I told you. I'm smart like that. I know things. All right, that's Bitcoin. If there's any questions, I'm going to answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to move on. I'm in a long. I'm probably going to cut it at break even because I'm not fond of this price action. It's a lot safer to just long higher up if we can reclaim the point of control. Now looking at the price action, I'm probably more interested in a to short this area or a swing failure of this lows and just trading this local range and seeing what happens here. All right, that's Bitcoin. So what's interesting about the markets is that